Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Welcome to Mesa County Compass. This afternoon we have Jay Lee here with us. He is running for county commissioner, would be Cody Davis's area, and he will be running as an independent. So welcome, Jay. And would you give us a little bit about your background and why you are running? Kind of a two-part thing.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be glad to. So before I talk anything about myself, I just want to set a tone for the discussion here, because I'm new to the area as well, so and I'm really intrigued by the format here. Like, I'm a nobody, you are two nobodies, and we are talking, and our conversation being
to a whole bunch of nobodies.
Nobodies, exactly.
We're trying to get out to everyone.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point of American values being exercised. Is we get to talk about the government, we get to participate in the process, and we get to not necessarily, I don't want to be the government, I want to be a part of the government to find a better solution and approach than what we have now. So I just want to set the tone there, and I'm a fan of the founding fathers. So their principles, I think we really need to stick to, even it's been hundreds of years, but it's this country, how this country was founded, and we need to stick to it. It's only a republic if we can keep it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's only a republic if the people participate.
Exactly.
And I understand that your forefathers lived under communist China, so you know about not having liberties, and you're a naturalized citizen.
Exactly.
So when did you come here, and when did you come to the United States, and when did you come to Grand Junction?
Yeah, good question. So
Mac,
yeah. That was last year. It's really recent.
The Grand Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up in China, in Shanghai. It's a mega city. It's we can talk a ton about how it dealt with itself during COVID time. It was crazy. But anyways, I grew up in that city, graduate college from there, and then I moved to South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota, for my master's degree after my college education in China. And I spent there about 2-3 years, and then I got another offer from Colorado School of Mines in Golden for my PhD program. So I moved to Golden. And then a couple of years later, I met my wife. She was studying in CU Boulder, and she grew up in Palisade.
Okay.
So I've been visiting, the valley since then. It was like 10 years ago or so. And eventually, we've been thinking about farming and, living a even more rural place than Denver. I'm from Shanghai, so, Denver is
small potatoes, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, thinking about moving to a farm, having our own operation and stuff, 10 years ago, and we've been looking for a lot of states, a lot of places inside Colorado, and then eventually we decided to come back to the valley, and we found a property in Mac, and we moved in last year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you have, I know you have a couple kids, and how old are they, and what do you and your wife do? I know farming isn't your only job.
Yes. So I have 2 kids so far. The boy, the big brother, is about 4 years old.
Oh, my.
And I
Cute.
have a little daughter. She's about 17, 18 months.
Oh.
And I delivered both of them with my own hands.
Wow.
Especially my daughter, she was born at home. Like we tried to get her to the birthing center, but it was just too fast, and she was there. So I cut the cord and everything. Yeah, so put her out, and and 2 years before that, I put my son out at the birthing center in Littleton. So I guess I got my farming experience.
Yeah. And so now you have cows and you can do that, no problem.
And a calf just born 5 years ago. Not sorry, 5 days ago on Sunday, and I didn't get to participate in any of that because it was just born like by the mother and by the cow, and we didn't even participate the process.
So how many cows do you have?
Right now, we got about a dozen.
A dozen?
That's like including cows, heifers, bulls, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The whole herd.
The whole herd, yeah. And we sell raw milk shares, and I mean that's another topic. We can discuss maybe another time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the state has how raw milk needs to be operated. It's in the state statutes, so we strictly follow that set of rules in order to satisfy the government's requirements. So basically, we cannot sell publicly, but the customers can join the herd. They become partial owners of the
Mm-hmm.
herd by signing a bill of sale and pay the corresponding fees. Now, as partial owners, you are entitled to anything from the herd, including milk.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about doing something like that. Go ahead.
Very interesting. What else do you do?
So my full-time job, I'm a software engineer. I work for a local archaeology company here. They have an office here in Grand Junction. They also have offices on the Front Range and other states. So that's why I got to move from the Front Range to here too, because I didn't really change my job or anything.
Nice.
So
nice.
that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is your wife able to stay home or did?
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So now she actually has a full-time job at home, which is as a farmer. So even though I'm Farmer J, but I'm mostly doing the construction and other aspects of farming, while she's the main one taking care of the cows and milking.
And do you do other crops or just mainly the dairy farming?
We're just on the property for under a year, and eventually I want to get into other livestock and other vegetables, orchards, and get the land irrigated so I can grow some grass too. But right now, we only have cows.
Okay.
And I'm going to change the subject a little bit and get more back to what you're doing running for county commissioner.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel like that you need to run for county commissioner at this time? What do you see that is wrong with what is going on at this moment?
And specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to. I don't really have time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too busy with kids and farming and the job and everything. I didn't really have time, but I'm compelled. If I don't do it, it's never gonna get done, because I'm really frustrated about the county's zoning and the planning and the building process, and looks like it's been that way for a while. It was not like that before. But somehow it was introduced to this county. Certain things have to be done in the current way, and I think the same force is pushing the same thing in Delta County as well. A couple of years ago, they just got some handed and got some boilerplate zoning codes
Mm-hmm.
to the local residents, not even adapted to the local needs. So they're fighting that too, and with my personal experience specifically, before we actually got our property, we tried to talk to the planning and the building departments here in the county, and it sounded like Mesa County is based. Mesa County is the way to go, to move to. The process is so simple to start a small family dairy farm in the county. The process, it was all over the counter according to our communication with the county before we closed on the property. And then when we moved in and got ready and tried to submit the easy materials they required, and then it turned out the full review process that they consider us as a commercial operation, and basically put us at the same level as like a Costco. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. We cannot handle. We didn't budget for the energy codes and all that in order to build our barn. There's no way like a small family farming barn that will be able to comply to the new energy codes and all that, the green energy codes.
So what were some of the energy codes that they had in there that you needed to comply to?
Well, so they handed us the specs, and then we sent bids out to the contractors, and it came back with basically triple our initial budgets. And they and those bids, or the ones came back, included calculate those specific, like the energy required to be consumed in the building, and how you can, like, there are tons of like very technical stuff that I didn't expect that a barn will be needing. So yeah.
More like a house than a barn, actually.
Or not even a house. It's more like an office or school requirements.
Right.
Yeah, because it's commercial. Yeah.
So have you spoken to the county commissioners with your concerns, and what did they say when you told them that this is what you were, when you were thinking about moving here, this is what you were told, and now that you're here, this is what you were told, and what did they suggest you do about it?
Yeah, I actually have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with Bobby Daniel, just talking about this. But I've been emailing and talking with the departments, and because they sit in their offices, and if those are the codes or requirements they need to stick to, I mean, I can't blame them for that, because they're just following the rules like any under any governments, or in history, the agents, they're just following the rules, and I mean, what can you say, right?
So where do you think all these rules came from?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of speculations, but I want to follow the truth, and I don't know the truth, right? I try to get to the bottom of it, and it sounds like there are a lot of international organizations and entities trying to push something down our throat, and especially here in Mesa County. I mean, have you guys seen those recent reports about Grand Junction, the valley being on the top 5 list of moving to or whatever? I think they are really by using those guides or whatever, they're trying to move people's attention to places that haven't been noticed before, but like gems that they might want to get to. But I think there are bigger agendas behind.
So pushing the agriculture away and creating a place just for housing. Is that what you think, or? Well,
the housing, I mean, that it's a need, right? But anyone coming here, you need housing. But I think there are bigger ones, I think ag is in the way of a lot of activities, not just housing, right? And farmland has the lowest value in terms of property taxes and all that. So it's the first. In their eyes, that's the first one to go. And I mean, I'm from China, and that's how they, try to get rid of the farmers, move them to towns, and make town cities. And then, like during COVID times, it's easily lockdownable, right? And all that. So, my belief is China is just like a test bed for a lot of future thoughts or protocols that they want to push all over the world. But it's already in tight control, so it's easy to be implemented as a controlled environment for experiments.
So if you move people off the land into the city, then you can control the people in the city much more easily. And also free laborers
too, not necessarily free, but like cheap laborers too. And the migrant workers in China had been a huge issue because they were basically being used, from the 80s, and now they are old, and then their children are they call it the second generation migrant workers, and now they are being used at like Foxconn, and you probably heard the news of those young workers jumping out of the building, and they have those nets catching them installed under the windows, so they jump out the window, they can be caught. And
really?
Yeah,
and
that's where your phones are, laptops are made. Yeah, I mean, it's not. A lot of people here think, oh, China is the biggest enemy, but I would say, hey, the people are not. People are being abused there. It's the the government.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I want to say that one more time, very plainly.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not the people of China.
It's not the people of China. It's the government of China. And just like here, people here are great, but it's the government. Maybe outside, people outside the U.S. would think, oh, Americans are evil, because of certain things, the U.S. government did overseas, right? But it's not the case. People here are nice, are generous, caring. The same thing with other countries as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you think it's the governments that are controlling all, and I mean that literally. It may not be so apparent here in this valley yet, but it's coming.
I believe so. Yes, but with like we're having discussions about this, and people are listening. I think we still have the freedom to do this, and we need to stop whatever is coming. Stop, keep them out of the valley. From like the farming or the food security standpoint, this valley is a very, I would say, strategically important and significant actually place, because it can, I went to a lot of places in the valley. We get to produce fruits, livestock, eggs, crops. Like we basically have everything here in the valley, while a lot of other places don't get that kind of level of choices, right? Food choices. So that's that, and also people here they are still very liberally minded. I would say the majority of them. So I think that's a great advantage that people really. I mean, like I said on my website, and that's my thought too, which is like Mesa County is at the very critical crossroads here right now. We either move just like without consent, like being pushed in certain direction, or we just stand strong and trying to hold our place, hold our line.
So, because I noticed restore liberty. So,
Yes.
what liberties do you think need to be restored, and how would you restore them?
Yeah, from my personal standpoint, I'm all about the property rights. So I think it's very important to have, it's my land. I own the land, so I should have certain rights to the land. I don't need to talk to the government just because I want to build something simple. Right? Of course, I won't have like a dump for a national trash company to dump trash on my land. I wouldn't like that either. I wouldn't like my neighbors to have that kind of rights either. But just to do something positive, beneficial to myself, to my family, to the community, I don't think we need to ask the government for permission for that. But right now, everything you do, you have to ask for permission, and I think it's kind of ridiculous for the current Board of Commissioners. I think it was a month ago they passed like, oh, now you guys, after the study done by the planning department, now the ag zone areas have this new rights that you can do, like agritourism. Like, I was thinking, like, what? Like, having a tool on a farm is like just naturally a part of farming, and you don't need to ask for permission beforehand. Now, like, they give you the freedom. Now you can have 5 people, but not more than certain amount of people at certain hours, but not outside of those hours. Still have a box that you have to fit yourself into in order to have this tourism. thing going.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it went into that kind of depth.
Detail,
I really
right.
didn't.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Detail is
Well, and I know that the city planning commission is even worse if you have to deal with both the county and the city. We have had, like Janet Rowland on, and we have had on Cody Davis, and one of the things that they've told us that I don't know if you're aware of is that oftentimes those are coming from the state, a lot of those regs, and they say if they're going to do that, they are really hamstringed by the state. Do you think that there's anything that we can do differently that will impact that? Because, for a long time, Mesa County was left alone. It was like you were, oh yeah, you're over on the other side of the mountain. We don't care what you do.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado is a home rule state, right? That means you get to choose your local ways of doing.
We actually are not home rule in the county. The city of Grand Junction is home rule.
No, I mean, yeah, the city is home rule, but I'm saying that's a principle of the state because some other states don't have that principle that local people have local control.
Okay.
Right, but Colorado as a state, we have local control.
Okay.
So actually, in the state's statutes, for use the building and the zoning as an example.
Okay.
In the state statutes, it says if the local county governments decide to exempt certain lands from certain rules, then those lands don't have to follow some state's rules.
Okay.
So county has the power to exempt a lot of things from the state so that those lands are not subject to further state regulations. But I guess they want to make it easy and simple, and so okay, it's just state has this rule, then we just put this on our own head, our neck, and then call it good because then you don't have to do anything extra. But in fact, the county has a lot of leeway there that can do a lot of things so that the local people don't have to be subject to
you
the
might
state
have to
rules.
work at it though.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
Well, one of the things I read on your website that I really liked the idea was you talked about a commission cabinet. I thought, oh, that's a brilliant idea. So say how you think that would work and how you envision that.
Yeah, so actually it's not like my original idea. When I lived in Lakewood, I would say I like canvassed for a local city councilor, and she worked closely with the Independence Institute, and you guys know what that entity is, right? It's more like a...
Tell us about it.
Yeah, in Independence Institute, I think it's a Boulder, Denver-based, more like free market, liberty-minded think tank.
Okay.
So it promotes the constitutional rights and everything. So I got to be working with that candidate and got to learn something from her. That was, I heard that from her, but she did eventually, the idea didn't really pan out for her, but I'm picking up here. And I think, because I'm not sure how the current county commissioners, they work in terms of getting public feedback, right? Of course, we have the board meeting, and then you have the public comment, but who's really going to those meetings? I mean, on Tuesday, and I mean,
at 9
Tuesday,
o'clock in the
9 o'clock
morning.
in the morning, I mean, everyone's busy at that time, right? So I can't even get to listen to what they were talking about, let alone getting to give them feedback. And that with the limited format and everything, I think the input to them, I assume it's very limited. Maybe they have their way of trying to get more feedback, but that's my way of if you want to talk to me, if and I think they may have some coffee time with the commissioner right now. But my way is I want to get a bunch of people, and having meeting with them regularly. And if we have an issue on the table, some decision need to be made, I want to hear from people living on the west end of the valley, east end of the valley, everywhere.
Maybe more of a town hall type thing.
But at the same time, they are committed. Those people are committed, saying, "Hey, Jay, we want to give you feedback, on a regular basis instead of town hall,
Well,
7
true.
p.m.
Right.
At the Palisade High School, and anyone's welcome." But you don't really have the commitment there.
Right,
So commitment is what I'm looking for this cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
And that
that
could
would be
give
a
you
permanent
information.
input type
Yeah.
thing. That's kind of interesting. I like that idea.
Well, and they could tell you what issues they were seeing in their area.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
what people are feeling, like the sewer plant, if they had in Palisade when that
The
was
solar
going
plant,
in.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, the sewer.
Oh, the
sewer. Yeah, we had
There's sewer.
because Palisade doesn't have their own
Oh, sure,
sewer
right,
system,
yeah.
and so there was a big controversy, brouhaha, about where that sewer line was going to run and have it be taken care of at the Clifton sanitation plant, or
okay.
whether they should have their own sewer plant and just
Right.
pay for it themselves. Or
I
so
see.
that would be something that
And it's still not resolved, by the way.
yeah. No, but the solar, you brought that up as one of the
Yeah.
things that you thought was a big concern, that the county commissioners had gone ahead with the solar farm. So why was that a problem for you?
Yeah, because I'm all about local control and local input from the people, and I've experienced this firsthand when I live on the Front Range, that people went to the city hall telling at those public comments before the agenda and the item needs to be approved. People talk to the councilors that, hey, we don't like this, so we got 3 people for certain things to be zoned a certain way and 100 people against. But then the councilors just voted for it because I don't know, right? So and I saw the same thing here. And as long as I understand the situation, that not a lot of people, local people living around that property, they are for that project, right? But somehow the board still approved the expansion, or initially they approved the project in the first place, and then they expanded last year. So how can that happen if all the 15 neighbors around that property against it? Then it's a clear no to me. But why because you are, as a commissioner, you are just a representative. Again, you are a representative of the local people. And, of course, you might have your own values and this and that. But the most important thing, because we are a representative republic, right? We're not really a democracy.
Right.
Right. So in that form of governments, if the people don't like it, they vote no to it. And I actually watched your interview with Mr. Davis last time, and sounds like he's a big fan of the land use code, and he thought it provides a consistency, and when some mob showed up saying no, and now the officials have the tools, so that the government can make decisions regardless what people think. I think that's what I got from him, and I think that's not right. Yeah.
That sounds to me like another type of governance, not necessarily freedom.
No, not at all. Yeah.
So how would you say you were elected, because that is a full-time position to be
Sure.
part of the county commissioners and with salaried, what would you do, not necessarily with your farming, because I think that would be fine to continue farming, but what
Right.
would you do with your other job? Would you continue on with it, or?
Yeah, I mean, with my other job, because I'm at a quite high level actually at the company, so I think I'll be able to negotiate and get my hours down, and even to part time at that time, or as a consultant, if I'm actually become the county commissioner. And yeah, so that's my plan on my full-time job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
What other questions? Do you have anything you'd want to address? Because we've gone around and just asked you questions, but
Sure.
there may be things that you want to get across that we haven't asked directly.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I listened to the one you guys did with with a lady talking about the sustainability and I think in several episodes you guys talk about like the 15 minutes city and all that. And as someone grew up in China and in my hometown and home city, that has become the epicenter of all those ideas. I would say those are very bad ideas. Like, do you know during COVID, the Shanghai and actually all the local governments in China, they pushed this idea of 15-minute nose swabbing circle. So basically, you can get your nose swabbed within 15 minutes, and they have a kiosk right at the corner of the streets. So it's convenient for you, right? Because people are subject to twice a day, daily swabbing.
And that swabbing wasn't fun.
No.
No. Can't you just look at me and see if I'm sick?
Exactly. So 15 minutes circle of convenience eventually evolved into 15 minutes mandated swabbing of your nose and brain. So and like in history, everything seemingly intended with a good intention eventually falls out to be very, very bad, and I don't want that to be repeated here.
For every action there's an equal and positive reaction.
And so you see, I would say, having listened to you, that your biggest desire is less government and more freedom.
Yes, exactly. Get the government out of our daily lives. I don't have to interact with. I can't count how many times I've been visiting the downtown, Mesa County office. It's not necessary. We spend a lot. I don't want to use the word waste, but we spend a lot of money and time and energy just trying to get our plan across. But still, it's just like stagnant right now. We had a lot of dreams, trying, and I assume my wife and I, we are the type of people the people here in Mesa County looking for, like the newcomers coming here, and people probably don't want like certain types of people here, but I bet we are the type of people that local
we would
here
value.
would value and enjoy being with us as neighbors. But we don't find, at least from the government, we don't feel the sense of being welcomed here. It's a lot of red tape, and actually, we talked to Weld County before we moved here because we were looking at properties there, and the atmosphere is much better out there in Weld County, even though they are kind of a big ag kind of county, and which is in contrast here. We like here more. So that's why I say people here are so nice, and even the government workers in the building, they are so nice, but we just can't get anything done.
Yeah. And you're trying to do something positive. You're not trying to do something that would destroy anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, well, I think it's very interesting, and I have you done any research into what the county commissioners do and what they oversee, and other than just the part that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Because I know that somebody that's getting their PhD is obviously got some good research skills, and they're bright. You don't go through Colorado School of Mines with a PhD program and not have anything on the ball. So
yeah, to be honest, I don't know exactly what a day-to-day task or life of county commissioner, but I believe with my capacity, I'm able to handle that and learn, because I don't believe any of the current incumbents they are equipped just naturally know how to do the job.
No, they don't. You've got that learning curve
that
you have to face.
And I think my strength is I really want to talk to people. I don't want to learn really what the staff think what a commissioner needs to do. I want to learn what the people want me to do, and I'll try to achieve those inside the government to make sure things are reformed, things are done in the way that we the people want to do. Want to.
Then you will listen to the people.
Right. Yeah.
Which is the most important.
Right.
I believe so. Yeah.
And want to create something that actually is desired by the people, that make life better.
Right. I mean, just like the zoning and building codes, if none of the people I talk to enjoy it or want it in the first place, then why they are in the place in the first place, right? Like why they are even there. Apparently they were not voted in by any people or have any support from the local communities. So why they're there? I mean, we don't even need them. I don't want to be extreme on that front, but I don't think we need like right now. If you look at all the zoning codes or building codes across the state or in the country, it's more like it's like a whitelisting. You are allowed to do this. You are allowed to do that. Just like to use the example of the agritourism. You are allowed to have agritourism. You are allowed to have 10 people. 20 people if you meet this condition. They just laid it out what you can do. But I think it's really ridiculous in a sense that all my what I can do, all my freedom is well defined already. You have the prescribed freedom here. Go enjoy it. That's not how I view what liberty or freedom should be. Liberty of freedom to me is okay. The government rules lays down the rules. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. There are 10 things you cannot do, and then the rest, go explore. Go if we find out there something unintended, then we will make some more rules about it. But before we realize it's a problem, it's your freedom to explore. So I want to turn the whitelisting to blacklisting. For example, you cannot have a dump on your property, for certain size or whatever, things like that. So I want to have that paradigm shift in the zoning code.
Very good.
And the commissioners have the full right of doing that because that's completely a local right to the county.
Interesting. Well, if you want to know any more about Jay's project, go to votefarmerjay.com. He has quite a website there, and you can learn a lot about him in that as well. So keep your eyes peeled for Jay. He's going to be out getting signatures to be on the ballot
in November.
Yes.
So is there any other way that they can contact you? Because they can read about you, but how would they, if they wanted to visit with you, maybe, say, let's have coffee and explain more about your ideas to us, how could they reach you?
Oh, for sure, yeah. So on my website, there's a Contact Me tab, and then you can click on it, and I listed my phone number, so you can call me or text me. I got my email address on it, jay@votefarmerjay.com. I really want to talk to people and find creative ways to make sure that our freedom is restored.
Make a difference.
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Well, you've been watching Mesa County Compass. This is the facts as we see them, the truth as we know it. You decide. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.